What's the deal with music, anyways? You ever wonder why we enjoy music or what music even is? Well, it has something to do with fractals. Did you click off of the video yet? What I mean to say is that reality repeats. Whether you call it a recursive field, a holographic manifold, some kind of fractal matrix, as above, so below, tomato, tomato. Whichever way you look at it is really just determined by the aesthetics you find to be the most attractive or beautiful. I simply call this fractal recursive hologram memory. Isn't that much easier? Memory. Reality repeats. It cycles, its patterns, connection, information, and relationships. Perhaps the word reenact is more intuitive for your mind. A child is a reenactment of their parents. This is why the parents can see themselves in the child. When we tell a story, we reenact the foundational pattern which shapes the cosmos. And music is no different. Music is a reenactment of these principles which govern reality. These principles are dissonance and consonance, otherwise known as harmony. Nature openly displays its secrets. All you have to do is pay attention. And attention is the key word here because that is what this is all about. Attention or consciousness. If that's too woo woo, let's use the word knowledge here instead. You see, this is the way that knowledge works. Knowledge has to be closed fundamentally. In thermodynamics, it's referred to as a system. Anything that can be observed, aka known, must be enveloped by a boundary. This is fundamental. I'm no Langanite, but I believe this was the major conclusion in Chris Langan's CTMU as well. However, you don't need to have the world's highest IQ to see this. As I stated in my previous video, I believe we can all intuit naturally the way that reality works. Attention slash knowledge slash consciousness, whatever word you prefer, it has to be closed in order to be at all. That's what it is to be. However, there is a giant catch or elephant in the room. We are in a strange scenario where it is also fundamentally always open. This is suggested by Gödel's incompleteness theorem and the uncertainty principle of quantum mechanics. No matter what we do, we can never have complete closure, aka certainty. This right here encapsulates our total predicament as conscious entities. It is what generates all of our paradoxes, two principles which are both fundamental and contradictory. These two forces pushing on each other cause everything to happen. Reality is the battleground between two forces which I call memory and the imagination. If you want to understand their whole deal, what they are, and the strange dynamic they have going on, I go into all of the schizophrenic detail on paramind.org. Paramind is like a modern day mystery school. There are specialized videos and courses. There are also community features like forums and discords. The information has been gamified so you aren't just boringly reading documents. I mean, there's the library for that. What is being offered allows you to have access to the secret without years of esoteric research. I've done that for you. So once again, that's paramind.org. The link is in the description. Knowledge is closure. This phenomenon we experience as infinity comes from it. This closure is inextricably locked into a state of agitation by the imagination. There will always be a missing piece. I posit that said missing piece is you, the observer. I. I amness. I have a video on Paramind called the Oneida Lemma Dilemma where I talk about this thoroughly. You can think of it like this. Wherever you are right now, just look around. You see everything but yourself. Nature provides no way for you to see yourself. In order to see yourself, you need help. A mirror. And while a literal mirror or reflective surface like water can show you how you look, it doesn't allow you to see yourself. This word see is like a stand-in for knowing. The observer is bombarded by so much information from the outside. However, the observer itself is a black box of what I call hidden information. What reality winds up being is the ultimate mirror. It's showing the observer what the observer is by disclosing where you fit inside of it. Everything you do in reality is encoded into memory. You imprint onto reality, and this imprint is your identity. It's like how fingerprinting works or forensics in general. When a crime is committed, the criminal is caught by forensic scientists reading the imprint left behind. They call it the crime scene. This imprint already contains the identity of the criminal. It's just a matter of figuring it out. All they have to do is some reverse engineering, and the identity is revealed. This is what mind is trying to do. It's like this strange multidimensional form of reverse engineering where it's trying to discover who it is. Self reflection, to know itself, or to realize the self, as Jung puts it. But all of this is talked about over on Paramind. I have to get back on topic here. Now, closure introduces something most people don't think about: music, or more accurately, harmony. All closed structures generate harmonics. I don't know if you knew that. I should also note that harmony in music in general is made possible because of memory. Music only makes sense because you are able to hold the previous note in contrast with what you are currently hearing. We have to wait for dissonance to resolve to experience that cathartic pleasure. Without memory, music sounds like nonsense. Just look at someone with Alzheimer's or dementia. This is what their life is like. This makes sense because memory is the fundamental principle that shapes reality. But by now you're probably thinking, what are you talking about? I clicked on this video because I want to hear about synchronicity. What does this have to do with anything? Well, since consciousness is closure and you are conscious, it would stand to reason that any particular consciousness has its own harmonics, right? Or something like that. Enter synchronicity. You could say synchronicity are the harmonics of your life. It's the music you're dancing to, whether you realize it or not. It's the plot points of your life story. I've been saying that stories are a frequency. It's harmony and resonance, since we are using musical metaphors here. It's your unique resonance signature. This is also a nod to morphic resonance. If you know, you know. When you actually read Jung's work on synchronicity, there is never an explanation given for the phenomenon. It's just an acknowledgement that it exists, an observation. What I'm trying to do is show you why it exists and how it works. Its mechanism of action is purely epistemological. It all has to deal with knowledge itself. This is the point I keep trying to drive home, which I go into detail on Paramind. The phrase knowledge is power means so much more than you realize. Synchronicity isn't magic, but it sure as hell feels magical because it's irrational information. Irrational information is that which makes sense, but in a way that can't really be explained. The psychedelic experience is filled to the brim with this type of information. It's also notorious for generating these crazy feelings of synchronicity. I mean, how can you really explain that? The blue butterfly landing on the windowsill at exactly 3 p.m. means you should quit your job and move to the Brazilian coast. You could try to explain it, but you'll just sound crazy. You could say, no, you don't get it. My mother had a tattoo of a blue monarch butterfly, and when I asked her what it meant, she said she got it after a transformative time in her life. And I also used to tell her things I wanted to do in life, but that I was too afraid or risk averse. And she would encourage me to live and give life a try. But a few years later, my mother died at 3 p.m. in the hospital after a tragic automobile accident that completely devastated us. Fast forward to now, right when I'm feeling completely hopeless and stuck, I see a blue monarch butterfly landing on my window at 3 p.m. and I just knew what to do. It felt right. They're going to look at you like you got a screw loose, even with all of that compelling backstory, because it's something that has to be felt. It's irrational. It feels magical, but if you pay attention, all that's occurred is a pattern. Particular dots were connected in order to construct the narrative, because reality is pattern, connection, information, and relationships. The human being has this feature most of you call pattern recognition. What is a pattern but closure? It is you in your own personal echo chamber. An echo chamber is resonance. Synchronicity is the harmony of your own life story becoming apparent. The real crazy part is that it is always happening. Most people are just unconscious of it. The unconscious becoming conscious, right? Shout out to Carl Jung. There are two poles which are in contrast with each other that I call memory and the imagination. On one end, you have complete meaninglessness. I'd say this is the current rationalist paradigm we live under, scientism and that whole bit. This is where nothing has purpose. This inevitably leads to depression. And the other pole is overwhelming meaning. This is complete psychosis where there is so much meaning it fries our brain. And I personally believe that this is how reality actually is. It's just that we can't tune completely into it. We've sort of been spared understanding, or we've been given as much understanding as we need. I guess this is a very Lovecraftian take. However, I do think this is where it's all going. It probably won't be the Homo sapien, but the meaning in everything will eventually be disclosed in some unfathomable cosmic shift, which I talked about in my last video. Synchronicity feels right in the same way a note going from out of tune to in tune feels right. It's harmony and dissonance, sense and nonsense. You are conscious and unique, which means you are not just a closed system, but a unique one that has its own signature harmonics. This is why synchronistic instances only make sense to you or only resonate with you. To everyone else, it's meaningless. There is a reason why we use the word resonate as a stand in for understanding. It's like a frequency that only your antenna can pick up, your own little TV channel. I guess I'll finish this video by saying there is a rhyme and reason to your life. Literally, it's rhyming and resonating. Synchronicity feels so meaningful because that's what it is. It's meaning, it's sense making. And when that happens within a context that informs your decision making, we experience a magical sensation we call synchronicity.